Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blog Around Everything, and welcome back to the channel. And Merry Christmas, I guess. I hope I have been able to upload this on Christmas Day. Otherwise, that was an absolute fail on my part. But anywho, this is just going to be a bit of video, just looking at some of the news from the world of FC Barcelona, and I'll start, of course, just by giving my thoughts on the whole Super League thing. And I know it's a big topic and all of that, so I'll talk briefly about that, and then we'll look at some of the transfer rumors of what could have been once again for FC Barcelona. But beyond that, it's just going to be just a nice little update, just to give you something FC Barcelona-esque or ish for this lovely holiday period, or just so you're not alone on Christmas Day. Okay, so yeah. Aside from that, I thank you for all those who subscribed. We're on our way to 6K. It would be so nice to hit 6K before the end of the year. Fingers crossed that we can get there. Otherwise, please do enjoy what you see here, or I hope you do enjoy what you see here. And if you do, please hit that like button and also hit the subscribe thingy as well. Okay? Alright, thanks. Okay, so we can start by having a brief conversation regarding the Super League. Now, obviously, a lot has been said about this in the past, and I couldn't really talk on this immediately as the news broke. That was last week on, I don't know, it was Thursday, should have been, yeah, when the ruling from the European Court of Justice was, finally released Thursday morning. Couldn't really get on anything because, I wasn't really near my stuff, because I wasn't really in my usual setup and didn't really have the time to talk about it so much. So I'm not going to go over too many of the details, but what was announced from that court ruling by the European Court for Justice was that UEFA and FIFA were outside of their jurisdiction, should I put it that way? Basically, no. It was illegal for UEFA and for FIFA to block the Super League the way that they had in 2021. So, in that case, the way they threatened all those clubs, saying, well, if you're going to be in this Super League, you can't be a part of UEFA, and your players are going to be, banned from competing in any official FIFA competition. So the ECJ basically ruled that was an abuse of power, to put it another way, from the, governing bodies that were UEFA and FIFA, and that they should not have the rights to pre-approval of a tournament in the way that they did. So basically, UEFA can't say no to a tournament existing before the people organizing that tournament actually bring it to UEFA for their approval. So during the approval process is basically when UEFA can say yes or no. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of people who've been coming out, obviously A22, the guys who are behind the Super League, coming out saying, this is a big victory, momentous day, all that kind of stuff. We saw Barca, we saw Real Madrid coming out, basically in, all but celebrating, that, we had a big victory over UEFA and them. And of course, UEFA as well and FIFA saying that, this isn't as bad as these people are making it seem, because the criterion that the ECJ was saying is no longer appropriate is UEFA's old criteria. Now there's a new criteria. And then, of course, we went on to see even more stuff from A22, where they showed us the proposed format for the Super League. They're going to have 3 tiers, the top league, the star league, and the second one, the gold league, and the third tier being the blue league, taking inspiration from the EU flag, I guess. And yeah, so they went forth, they gave their suggestion of how this thing will work, 2 teams being relegated from the top league and whatnot. So they think they've brought meritocracy. And of course, since then, we've still seen a lot of statements from clubs, the Bayern Munich's, PSG's, I don't know, Arsenal, I think, Manchester United, Man City, all saying they don't want to be a part of this. And, the people from the media praising all those who don't want to be a part of this and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, at the end of the day, I just wanted to give, I guess my thoughts on the Super League. And I happen to be of the opinion that I don't really care about whether or not the Super League comes to fruition. And I know that sounds pretty weird because you're thinking, hey, dude, you're a Barca fan, and allegedly Barcelona and Real Madrid could stand to pocket themselves €1 billion for, their loyalty to the Super League project, for not leaving it. And so if Barca, if the Super League starts up, then Barcelona are going to have €1 billion, which completely wipes out all of Barcelona's financial problems. And I mean, look, it's around Christmas time, and I think all of us who are adults watching this, we kind of all know that, there's no such thing as a Santa Claus, a guy who just shows up and comes in through the chimney of your house and just leaves gifts at your, under your Christmas tree. And telling me that there's going to magically be a €1 billion that Barcelona could receive that will automatically wipe out every big mistake Barcelona has made financially, and just give Barca a clean slate. For me, that sounds a lot like a fairy tale kind of scenario. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel realistic to me. Like, come on, guys. Okay, that sounds too good to be true. And generally in life, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So, I don't really believe that's going to be the case. But even aside from all of that, the reason why I don't care anyway whether or not the Super League comes into existence or it doesn't is because for me, what's important here is putting UEFA and FIFA in check. Okay, I think over the past 10 or so years, we've seen plenty of evidence which points to just how corrupt FIFA and UEFA are, right? I mean, we don't have to go through the whole FIFA-gate scandal, right? Yeah. And also how so many people who are part of UEFA were implicated in that FIFA-gate scandal. There's a lot of corrupt people in both FIFA and UEFA. And it's obvious that when smacking down the initial Super League project, these guys were claiming to be saving football, FIFA and UEFA, football's Avengers. Yeah, FIFA is Nick Fury and UEFA is I don't know, Captain America or something, or Tony Stark, I don't know. The fact of the matter is that FIFA and UEFA, they're far from the good guys, They're just the evil that you have now, They are the devil, as opposed to the angel that you do not, which is what the Super League is. The angel that you do not, if you're FC Barcelona, because you think you're going to get €1 billion, which, to be honest, none of that seems real to me, okay? None of that seems real to me. So, at the end of the day, for me, I think the big part from all of this Super League stuff and also this ruling from the European Court for Justice, the biggest thing for me here isn't that a Super League could come into existence and that Barca could magically find themselves in a boatload of money that they can once again, waste and find themselves in financial problems again. No. For me, it's that FIFA and UEFA can finally have some checks put on them, because just look at all these crazy competitions that they're coming up with. Look at the new Champions League format. It's garbage, okay? It's absolute trash, and it's only going to lead to more games being played and more players being injured, right? Right now, we're at a record high, I think, for a season in which we've seen ACL injuries to players, Barca, of course, has Gavi. Real Madrid has got 10 million players who've all gone down with ACLs. And it's, not just in La Liga, it's all over Europe. There's quite a few. And this is happening because every year FIFA and UEFA are introducing a new tournament. UEFA is squeezing in the Nations League wherever it can. FIFA is now trying to expand its Club World Cup, so it's going to be a full blown out tournament with 3 weeks of football being played. It's that's crazy. That's ridiculous. And they can just do all these things because there's no one keeping them in check. They can make all these decisions because they are the judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to football. So it's good that they can have their powers put in check, that there should be different structures, different authorities over certain decisions that are being made. For example, I think that the decision of how many games are being played in a season the players and the clubs should have a bigger input on that, particularly the players, because, they are the product at the end of the day. So it's good for me that maybe this will ultimately lead to UEFA and FIFA having some of their powers taken away from them and put in another entity or whatever it is, but not the ECA. Okay, don't even get me started on that joke of an association that is led by the PSG club president, which is like, basically now you have Qatar controlling the European Clubs Association, and it's no wonder FFP rules are being relaxed, which, to be honest, is something which I think people are overlooking about why clubs like Barcelona and Real Madrid want a Super League to happen. If UEFA could actually enforce FFP, none of these issues would have happened. Sure, Barca and Real Madrid and all these other teams, the Man U's, the Arsenals, all these guys, they would have wanted more money, okay? But they wouldn't have gone to the extent of thinking they need to create a breakaway league, which they have control over. So, it's all these kinds of things. And I guess there's a lot to be said. But at the end of the day, that's what I think about this whole Super League thing. And I guess coming from that, we'll talk a little bit about what could have been for FC Barcelona. And if you're on Twitter like I am, or X like it wants to be called these days, then probably if you're, following a lot of Barcelona accounts, you've definitely had the name Echeverri trending, in your trends for you tab, yeah. And yes, Echeverri is one of those Argentine youngsters who shined at the Under-17 World Cup, who, he made waves. And he made waves for Barca in particular because he kind of confessed to being a Barcelona fan, he's a Messi stan as well. And there's all this talk about how he didn't want to extend his contract with River Plate. So, there was so much talk about, maybe he can come to Barcelona. Like, these things don't change, right? Anyhow, so what we eventually saw happen is, of course, Echeverri deciding that he is going to instead go to Manchester City. It's what it's looking like right now. Of course, Barcelona couldn't sign him because FFP. And Echeverri isn't the only player in this situation, because we have Moscardo as well heading to PSG. And right now it's looking like there's this kid called Messinho, or is it Esteval, something like that. It's looking like he is also on his way, going to be heading to a team other than FC Barcelona, despite the fact that he is once again a Barca stan and a player who wants to play for FC Barcelona. So, it's a pretty fun situation Barcelona are in. Obviously, Barca, it has been said that Barcelona are trying to sign another midfielder because they lost Gavi, so they want someone, I guess, similar profile to Gavi. Though, again, we're being told the same. There's no FFP margin, so I wonder why they're even trying to sign another player. But Barca will be Barca in that regard. But otherwise, I would say, aside from the arrival of Vitor Roque, which is going to happen because he's going to take up Gavi's salary mass. Aside from his arrival, let's not expect too much. Yeah, let's not expect too much from Barcelona in this coming, transfer window for the winter between January 1st and January 31st, is it? Let's not expect too much. Okay, let's just be glad with what we're going to get. And what we're going to get is not Echeverri, it's not Moscardo, it's probably not Messinho. And I hear that there is, though, a slight possibility for Lucas Bergvall, who, I'm going to be pretty honest with you, I haven't even seen any footage of this kid. So I don't know how good he is, but, obviously he's on the radar of a lot of big teams. So I guess it's pretty good. Him, and there's also another Swedish kid called Mamadou Sonko. And the rumor is that for Sonko, his club wants about 9 million euros. Sonko is, of course, a winger. And for Bergvall, his team wants something around the same amount, under 10 million euros. And so, there are rumors of deals being negotiated. But, at the end of the day, we'll have to wait and see how it all goes. It's possible maybe Barca could sign them through Barca Athletic, like we saw them do with Mikhail Fay earlier on in the summer transfer window. So yeah, we'll see how all of that goes. But aside from that, I think that's basically that, guys. That's your Christmas episode. So I hope that brought you some Christmas cheer, despite how negativo I was regarding a lot of these rumors. But at the end of the day, we have to be real. We have to be realistic. All right. So I thank you once again for tuning in. And also, if you're listening from the podcast as well, I didn't acknowledge you at the beginning of the video. My apologies. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. This is for you as well. Have a Merry Christmas and Força Barça.